Good afternoon, and thank you for stepping into the Foul Playland. As always, I'm your Foul Player, making another New York Met video for you guys, and this is actually a follow-up video to the last New York Met video I did. The last New York Met video I made happened to be like a half hour, and I was spewing off, three major points. But I'm making a follow-up video regarding the debate on whether to sign George Springer, the center fielder who last played for the Houston Astros, or Trevor Bauer, Cy Young Award-winning pitcher who last played for the Cincinnati Reds. I probably covered the topic like 6 minutes, and I've been debating that same topic on Facebook for the past like month or so, in addition to debating it with my friends in real life. I still have those. But I'll get into it now, like as far as why my choice is. And I'll preface this by saying that there is no wrong or right answers in this. I would be elated to have either one of them. But my choice in this is Bauer, and I'm giving you the reasons why. And within these reasons, I'm not like, crapping on Springer. In fact, I'm going to bring up things that are reasons that I would be cool with signing Springer. Like everything I got to bring up for the most part is positive stuff on both players. One of the things I do hear, though, is a very general argument as far as signing Springer is signing the everyday player, and I do get that. But my main point in as to why I would want to sign Bauer is because we have a definitive need at the starting pitcher position, whereas with the center field position, though we do have a need, we have players who could fill the role. I mean, these past 2 years, we've had players that we already have on the roster who have filled the role. And it wasn't like, as Met fans, people were saying, oh, we definitely need a center fielder. I mean, it was, we had more gaping holes as far as a shortstop when it was just Ahmed Rosario manning that position, or catcher when it was Wilson Ramos. And you get the point. But so I'll get into that first. I mean, like, as far as right now, we have Brandon Nimmo, who's sort of fleet of foot, has some experience playing the center field position, but is not a good center fielder by any means. But he's adequate, and as far as with his bat, he does provide that on-base percentage, and he draws pitch counts. In the beginning of the year, last year, he started off really bad, but he was still drawing a lot of high pitch counts. It wasn't on every at-bat, but it would be, even when he was slumping, 1 or 2 at-bats where he would draw 7 or 8 pitches. And I'm a big fan of that. As the year progressed, he started hitting a little bit better, in addition to getting on base while still drawing high pitch counts. Now, that may not mean much to some, but if you're trying to get a pitcher to 90 pitches and you got one guy who in those 3 rotations around the batting order, he's going to draw a pitcher to 21 pitches or 30 pitches in 3 at-bats, in addition to getting a hit or getting on base once or twice, that's a big deal. So for that reason, I not that I would vouch for Nimmo over Springer, but it's not like we would be having to fill a gaping hole with not signing Springer. Another reason is that we don't know if we're going to get the DH or not. I mean, there's reports that we won't be getting the DH in the National League, based on like the negotiation that's going on between the Players Union and the MLB Commissioner, Rob Manfred, moron. But if that's the case, we're going to have to find the space to have Dominic Smith play. Like, now people are saying, oh yeah, well, Dominic Smith's going to get playing time no matter what. But I don't think that's the case because you're also going to have playing time for Nimmo. And some people are saying, oh, well, he could play the, left bench. Like, I don't think that's a good move. I mean, like, I think people right now across other teams in the league are willing to offer prospects for Nimmo or packages for Nimmo. Do you want somebody like that languishing on the bench? If we don't have a DH, like trying to accommodate a position of play for him. Not only that, but you're also having to do the same for Dominic Smith. You can't run Dominic Smith every day left field, I think. And, not suffer like in the field somewhat, same as you would if you put Brandon Nimmo in center field. But, you're also, while you're trying to figure out whether to play Dominic Smith or Nimmo in the outfield or trying to accommodate time, you're taking these players off their ebb and flow and like the success that they did have last year, particularly with Dominic Smith. Now, it's also going to suck for Dominic Smith, regardless of how this happens, if we don't have a DH, because he has to go to a position that he didn't play last year much in left field. He was playing first base last year for the most part, while Pete Alonso was playing the DH position. And a lot of people, when it comes to having to figure out who's going to play first base next year, I don't hear many people saying, well, maybe Dominic Smith should play first base next year. I think a lot of people's answer, and mine too, is that Pete Alonso should play first base because of the power potential and the fact that he's a right-handed bat when we have a lot of left-handed bats. So, yeah, I do take that into account. But, with signing Springer, especially now, like where we don't have a definitive answer as to what we're going to have a DH, we're kind of like creating a little bit more of a problem, a good problem, than we are solving a problem. And I'll get into reasons why, Bauer obviously solves a problem, because right now, like I mentioned in my last video, as it currently stands, Seth Lugo, a converted bullpen pitcher, is our number 3 pitcher, which is a pivotal, position as far as starting pitchers go. Our number 4 pitcher right now is David Peterson, somebody who hasn't played a whole year and who was a rookie last year. Though he did have success, I like what we did see from David Peterson. I think he would be more fitting as a second-year player so as to not suffer a sophomore slump, to be at the back of the rotation rather than be at the number 4 position of the rotation. And the same goes for Seth Lugo. I'd rather him be at a position of less pivotal competition or having to be a streak stopper if we go through a losing streak. You want these guys to be, at a position where if they give you something good, well, fantastic. And if they suffer a little bit, they go through that learning curve at the back of the rotation, it's not as big of a deal. But signing Bauer right now would give us a number 2 pitcher that I don't think any other team in the league has a number 2 of that caliber, or a 1 and 2 of that caliber, and Jacob deGrom and Bauer back to back. And I think that what Bauer may end up eventually signing for in this market, I predict that he's going to be like maybe $175 million for 6 or 7 years. That's pretty much a little bit more than what we paid for deGrom, and I think that we got deGrom at a steal of a price. I think what Wheeler signed for, like which I alluded to in my last video, which was 118 for 5 years, was also a steal. And we're paying a little bit more than that for a guy who's winning his Cy Young campaign last year. And the only reason that that's happening is because of the fiscal losses that a lot of teams went through due to the COVID. Now, I mean, yeah, we should try to take advantage where we could. And I think that those advantages where we're going to be able to sign players at a bargain are going to be more in the starting pitching market with solely Bauer. Because I don't think Real Muto is going to come at a steep discount. Or, and who cares because we already got a catcher. And in the relief pitching market. Now, no matter what, I mean, if we sign Springer, we could still double back and sign a good reliever, per se, at a discount. But if we sign Springer, I mean, we're not going to get the second best pitcher in this market or see Jake Odorizzi at a discount. I think Jake Odorizzi is going to be able to take full advantage of not being or being the last big dog left if Trevor Bauer signs first. And, he's still going to sign for a lot of money. Now, Jake Odorizzi, I mean, he has an injury history in addition to not playing up to snuff his last year. Now, maybe that had to do with the fact that he suffered an injury. Who knows? But, I mean, do you want to go into the season with Marcus Stroman, who didn't play most of the year, with Seth Lugo, who's a converted reliever, with Peterson, who's a rookie, and with Steven Matz as your fifth guy? Now, I know I'm being a little facetious. I think that no matter what, they're gonna have to sign a starting pitcher. But all those other guys that you could sign, when you talk about a Masahiro Tanaka or Corey Kluber or Jake Odorizzi, or that second tier of pitchers, come with big question marks. Same goes for the center field market. You have Jackie Bradley Jr. As your secondary center fielder, and then a big time drop off like Marisnik, who we already had on the team after Bradley. I get all that, but again, are you gonna tell me that Jackie Bradley Jr. is that much better than Nimmo? I mean, he is better than Nimmo, but is he worth making that fiscal commitment for? It's a similar argument to signing Real Muto versus signing McCann. I mean, is there that much of a drop off to justify having to pay big money for? Or would you rather take that money and sign a bullpen arm or two? Do you rather have Brad Hand in your bullpen, a dominant left-handed pitcher who could potentially be the best relief pitcher in the league and would fill a need as far as having a left-hand pitcher in the bullpen, which right now I don't think we currently have one. So, I mean, what would you rather do? Would you rather sign George Springer, Jake Odorizzi, or less, and maybe a relief pitcher? Or would you rather have Bauer, a relief pitcher, and or Bauer securing your starting pitching rotation, signing not so much Liam Hendricks, but maybe Brad Hand, secure reinforcing your bullpen, and filling in that void of having that left-hander, in addition to Kike Hernandez type, who you could probably sign for 1 year right now, and the reports are that he does want to sign for 1 year to try to take advantage of next year's free agency period, because he wants to capitalize on being a free agent in 2022 rather than in a post-COVID market. So, like I said, there's no wrong answers. And I get the fact that you're getting Springer's bat into the lineup every day, but right now, as it currently stands, we're going to have a bit of an improved lineup with the signing of McCann, or so long as the DH isn't in play. I mean, if the DH is in, so long as the DH is in play. I mean, if the DH isn't in play, it's just going to be a problem. I think all around. But there's no wrong answers in it. Like I said, like I mean, like am I gonna bitch if they sign Springer? Absolutely not. Like I like Springer a lot. Also, that's what I forgot to mention. Maybe some of the drawbacks of Springer. I know a lot of people mentioned the fact that Bauer is a me first kind of guy, like, or that he likes to be on the internet. I don't care about that. I mean, I think a lot of players that aren't on the internet more are like kind of fighting themselves to be on the internet. Like I think the baseball days of all like don't be a showboat or don't try to be seen less. I mean, I think that's more that ruffles the feathers of relics. But for younger guys like me, like it's not that big of a deal. And Bauer does have some of that, but I think that's actually kind of cool. I think it's a drawback or a little bit of a cool compliment to Jacob deGrom, who's kind of like nerdy, goofy, sort of like a little bit on the dorky side, but he's just this dominant force who doesn't say much, family man. Like it kind of be like a cool little compliment to have somebody who's more like cocky and bodacious as his running mate. So that's one of the drawbacks with Bauer, and I get that. And the fact that he was a sub 4 ERA pitcher for most of his career, but he always had that potential. I mean, I saw that potential in college even. But the drawbacks with Springer is the fact that one thing to me is the cheating scandal with Houston, and how much did he benefit from that? We don't know that. I mean, did he benefit from that last year? Probably not. But what if they found out another way to implement that sign stealing? Who knows? But also, I mean, and I'm gonna sound really crude in saying this, but I had a stuttering problem as a youngster. Taking my time speaking and talking loud, I think helped combat that. But sometimes when I get around other fellow stutterers, if you will, I tend to fall into that habit of not habit, but into that stuttering issue. Once again, even in my adulthood. But so for instance, if Springer does happen to struggle here in the New York City market, having to speak to reporters every day, like these, reporters in New York are pretty ruthless, and who knows? I mean, I think the fans, I mean, like, if we have a bad year next year, I mean, Met fans are, I got all the love in the world for Met fans, but we're very dour, like me, when we fall into the malaise that we usually get into. So, I would hate to see that, like with Springer, being like mocked or anything like that. People are cruel sometimes, But and some fans are saying like, like, and this is not like applicable to either one, but some fans are saying, oh well, like sign both, like stop counting like their pockets, like psh, you ain't telling me anything. I mean, like if they sign both, like I would literally urinate upon myself. I would love it if they signed both, but I mean, like I know how things are, and maybe Steve Cohen doesn't want to give the impression off the rip that he's just gonna go over the threshold out the box, and I get it. If he did that, like I'm not gonna. Will I blame him? No. But and you also got to factor that right now we're operating with not having to pay Robinson Cano's contract. So next year we are gonna have to pay Robinson Cano's contract, and if we're anywhere near that threshold or over that threshold, I mean we're gonna have to suffer the brunt of it, I guess, next year. I mean, I know money doesn't matter to Steve Cohen seemingly, but maybe he doesn't want to give that impression that he's just gonna be a pirate with his dollars. But let me know what you guys think. With that, I'm out. Thanks for checking in. about to pick up a generator at Home Depot, and I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. Like, there's supposedly a snowstorm coming up here in New York. I'm in beautiful Bay Ridge, just as I'm making this video. But yeah, snowstorm coming. I mean, with the election funkiness that some people may get up in arms for, just take care of yourself. Get all the supplies you need. Generator. They're hard to come by. I went to like 6 different Home Depots in New Jersey, and I'm gonna have to pay New York City tax to buy one here on Atlantic Avenue or Hamilton Avenue Home Depot, which I hate going to. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, man. Like, with that, I'm out. Thanks for checking me out. Peace.